Hey YouTube, Common Collector here, and today I'm coming at you with my Exodia, the Forbidden One deck profile. Now this deck is extremely budget for all of you guys who are wondering. I know that I know you guys enjoy these budget deck profiles and whatnot, so I thought I would show you this. Exodia is a favorite from the anime and whatnot, so everybody loves Exodia, everybody wants to have an Exodia deck, and right now it's basically in the best position that it's been in for a long time with Mystic Mine, so there hasn't really been any new support for this, so this deck isn't really too different from what other people run, but I figured I would show you guys the way that I run it, because it is a little bit different. But starting off, we will have the mandatory 5 pieces of Exodia, so pretty standard there. Then the only other monster that I run in the deck is one Planet Pathfinder, just so you can search for your Mystic Mine field spell. If you really want to, you could bump this up to 2. I know that a lot of people don't run this card at all, but I think that it's pretty important to make sure that you get into your Mystic Mine. So then going on, we have in the spells, we have our field spell Mystic Mine, which basically makes it so that your opponent can't activate effects or attack as long as they have more monsters than you do. So as long as you're able to utilize your Mystic Mine the correct way, you're not going to have any problems. You're going to have to learn a little bit about side decking and whatnot, making sure that you can protect your board and stuff. So there are a few cards in the main deck that will do that. But then, along with the side deck, you should try to prepare a little bit more for if your opponent is going to be coming at you with like 3 copies of Twin Twisters and all of that other stuff. So, going on then, we have 3 Pot of Duality, one of the best cards in the deck. It's a great searcher. So basically, you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and then you take 1 card from that, and the only stipulation is that you can't special summon for the rest of the turn. The only thing, though, is that we don't special summon in this deck at all. Your only normal summon is your 1 Planet Pathfinder, and you rarely ever will even need to summon that anyways. So, very, very great card. It's going to help you to search to pick up a piece of your Exodia or your other search cards that you need. So, then going on, another great draw card is Shard of Greed. We want to run this at 3 of, so basically during your draw phase, whenever you draw a card, you are able to put a counter on this, and then when this card has 2 counters on it, you're able to send it to the graveyard in order to draw 2 cards. So it works like a Pot of Greed, only a little bit slower. Okay, next up for spells, we are running 3 copies of Ledger of Ledgermane. So basically what this card does is that it banishes the top 3 cards from your deck and puts them face down. And then after your 3rd standby phase, after activating this card, you get those cards into your hand. So really, really effective for just banishing like a few copies of your Exodia, or even banishing your non-Exodia pieces, and then getting those out of the way so you can activate cards like Pot of Extravagance, Pot of Duality, whatever, in order to draw into those necessary cards. So helps you to thin through the deck. It's a little bit slow, but, 3 turns really doesn't take too long when you're playing Mystic Mine, because your opponent, if they don't have any options, they usually just pass their turn anyways. So then going on, we're running the 1 Terraforming, because we're running a field spell, 1 Day of Peace, and 1 Upstart Goblin. It doesn't matter if you're running the 1 Day of Peace, because we're not looking to do any damage, just emotional damage, so that 1 Day of Peace still works. Then going on, kind of a questionable card if you want to put it in the main deck or not, but I'm running 1 Monster Reincarnation. In case there's a way that your Exodia pieces would ever get discarded out of your hand, then you can try to get that back from the graveyard, because if even one of these gets discarded from your hand, then your plan is totally messed up and there's no other way for this deck to win. Some people like to run like Wave Motion Cannon as a backup strategy, but I just don't really care for that. I think just sticking to the 1 concrete plan of just getting the 5 pieces of Exodia is perfect. So running the 1 Monster Reincarnation, or if you want to run Pot of Benevolence, that's another decent option as well. At the very least, you could keep this in your side deck, but I like having it in the main. Then going on into the traps, we are running 3 copies of Solemn Judgment, as well as 3 Dark Bribe, because we're trying to negate all of our opponents' Twin Twisters and whatnot that are going to be trying to blow up our Mystic Mine. So you got to be having, I would say that 3 of each of those is pretty solid for the deck. Going on, then we have 3 Reckless Greeds. I don't think that this card needs much explanation, but I guess I can go into it quick. Basically, the way this card works is that you draw 2 cards from the top of your deck, and then you skip your next 2 draw phases. The thing that you need to know about this card is that the effects don't stack, or so basically by that it means that if you activate 2 of these on the same turn, is that they just fold over together. So you activate both of these on the same turn, you just skip your next 2 draw phases. You don't skip your next 4 or anything like that. So basically the best way to use this card is if you can get off 2 of the effects on the same turn, or all 3 effects. That way you can draw 6 cards from your deck, and then you only lose your next 2 draw phases. So very, very solid. Next we're going on into 3 Jar of Greeds and our 3 Legacy of Yatagarasu. So basically what these cards each do is that you just draw 1 card from the top of your deck. So very, very simple. Then going on, we run 2 Trap Trick. You could run this at 3, but I really like it at 2 just because it gets a little clunky if you have 3 copies. But basically what Trap Trick does is that it banishes one of your normal trap cards from the deck, banishes them, and then you set another copy of the card face down from your deck, and then you're actually able to use the same card on the same turn. So the best way to utilize Trap Trick in this deck is with Reckless Greed. If you already have 1 or 2 Reckless Greeds face down, use this, get your 2nd or 3rd copy. That way you can make sure that you can stack the effects so that that you draw more and then you lose less draw phases. Then finally, for the last card, we run 1 Metaverse, rounding this off for a 40-card deck. So Metaverse, pretty, again, crucial for getting into your field spell along with like your Planet Pathfinder. One last thing before the end of the video is that I want to just sort of go over options if you're not looking for budget. Basically, these 2 cards right here, Planet Pathfinder and your Monster Reincarnation, could easily be taken out if you can afford your 2 Pot of Extravagance. And if you can find a 3rd card in the deck to get rid of, you could even run 3 Pot of Extravagance. But I think for sure 2 of them, especially with the reprint coming up in June, I believe, in the Toon Chaos set, I think that would be really solid for just making sure that you can really aggressively get to your Exodia pieces. Even getting rid of the Planet Pathfinder. If you have Extravagance in the deck, you're going to be drawing into so much of your draw power cards that you are definitely going to be seeing that Mystic Mine almost every single time. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for my Exodia deck profile. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought, and thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time. Common Collector out.